What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a buy now video for Dynasty. So if you haven't been to the channel before, if you like what you see at the end of the video, hit like, hit subscribe, shoot me a comment on any Dynasty questions you guys have. But let's get into the video today. Today's topic, buy now on these 4 players and some trade ideas on how to go get them. So the first guy I'm going to be talking about is going to be a wide receiver. It's going to be Pearsall, wide receiver for San Francisco. I have loved what I've seen from Pearsall in his first couple games in uniform for the Niners. Obviously had that strange start with getting shot in the attempted robbery, dude. What a crazy story to start your career. But Pearsall is a very good route runner, a very good match for the Kyle Shanahan offense. So I love what I've seen. I love that he got into the end zone last week. He's good with the ball in his hands. He's a good route runner. He can run some, he got a 30-yard end around in his first game with the Niners. And I really think he just complements this offense very well. Obviously, Ayuk's going to be coming back from the knee next year. We'll see what happens with Deebo Samuel moving forward. Juwan Jennings is there. I get it. There's a lot of pieces. But Brock Purdy is a very good quarterback. And Pearsall is going to be open for that team. So my trade idea here is going to be to trade away someone who's been playing very well as well, and that's going to be Jameson Williams, right? I do like Jameson Williams, and I'm not saying this is a sell on Jameson Williams, but I just think in general, I like the upside of Pearsall more than I like the upside of JMO. JMO's stuck behind Amon-Ra, Gibbs, Monty, Laporta. I think the Niners offense might look a little different next year, and for that reason, I prefer Pearsall to Jameson Williams here. Next player is going to be another wide receiver. This guy's going to be on the older side of the age spectrum instead of these younger players. That's going to be Calvin Ridley. Now, Calvin Ridley's had an up and down season for the Tennessee Titans, but he still kind of worked his way into wide receiver 20-something on the year, even playing with Mason Rudolph and Will Levis, and that to me is a big positive for Calvin Ridley. I'd imagine they get a new quarterback in there next year, and that is another positive for Calvin Ridley. Still like the offense that Tennessee has potentially moving forward with guys like Tajay Spears, an improved O-line, and a great defense. So my trade offer here is, can I send away Amari Cooper, someone who might be in a fancier, better looking situation from the outside, being in Buffalo, but I think Calvin Ridley is a much better fantasy and dynasty asset for your team, just in longevity's sake. I think Calvin Ridley has more years left in his career. He looks younger, he looks faster. I think he's just a better player than Amari Cooper at this point in his career. And I think this trade could potentially get done for someone who is looking more of a contender on the Amari Cooper side. And I think Calvin Ridley is a decent kind of retool kind of player where maybe you're not rebuilding, but I think he's just going to be better the next 2 years than he is right now for your team. Third player I want to talk about going to get is going to be Baker Mayfield. Now, I think Baker is just a very solid QB, and I think he's the epitome of a lower QB1, upper QB2 for your dynasty team. Still only 29, and he's looked usable even without Evans and Godwin. He's going to get some of his weapons back later this year in Mike Evans. He's going to get probably either re-signing of Godwin next year, maybe they draft another weapon, or he just has Otton with Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan, some decent running backs coming out of the backfield. So I like the future for Baker Mayfield, and I think he's just being a little undervalued right now. I think he's being valued fairly high. KTC has him at QB 15. I think that's pretty fair, but I think that's a good value 15 to go buy and get this quarterback on your team if you're looking for QB depth or a potential QB2 for your dynasty team. The trade I have suggested today is going to be, can I trade away Sam Darnold and Dak Prescott to get Baker Mayfield? 2 guys that have just kind of shown that they're not really elite. I think Sam Darnold gets replaced by J.J. McCarthy next year. Dak, obviously out with the injury. He looks old, and I think Baker just has a much bigger upside than Dak Prescott moving forward. And the last player I want to talk about buying today is going to be a tight end. That's going to be Ben Sinnott, tight end for Washington. I think for Sinnott right now, you still can go buy him fairly affordably. He kind of was going in the second round of dynasty drafts, but he hasn't really done anything on the field due to just being stuck behind Zach Ertz. But I really don't think that's his fault. I think it's just kind of their plan as an organization. I think at some point in the next year or two, he's going to overtake Zach Ertz on that roster, and he'll be tied to a very high upside QB in Jaden Daniels, who has targeted Ertz fairly well this year. Ertz hasn't really done as much with it because he doesn't have any run after the catch ability, which is something that Sinnott does possess, so I like the upside of him moving forward. I'm saying I would trade Jalen Polk to get Ben Sinnott on my team. Ben Sinnott, a good talent, hasn't had the opportunity yet. Jalen Polk could be a good talent, but he's gotten the opportunity. He hasn't showed. I think the Patriots add more weapons next year, and Polk kind of may get forgotten about on that team. I think his value just drops even more than it's at right now. But I would definitely do that trade for Sinnott for my Dynasty team. Thank you guys for tuning into the video. It was fast. Go get these guys on your team. These are great deals. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Happy to help as always. Appreciate you guys.